Do you read me over?
Be advised, you are coming in weak and unreadable.
Say again, Com Tower. This is Pacho. Do you read me over?
Pacho, this is Com Tower. I read you Lima Charlie.
Com Tower, Com Tower. Request permission to launch and commence the field op. Over.
Stand by. Pacho, permission granted. I say again, permission granted.
Roger that. Launching podcast in 3, 2. You are now entering the field op with your host, Pacho Correa, Chief Warrant Officer 3, United States Marine Corps retired. Get some. Hurrah! Get some. What's going on? Holy shit, I kind of fell asleep at the wheel. I was getting my notes already here. But anyways, hey, welcome to another show, another weekly show. Baby Friday Night Eve. Well, shit, it's almost the weekend. I need the weekend. Anyways, there was no show last week. I had to travel for very personal reasons. Let me fix my camera over here so that way you folks can see me on the mobile device. Yes, so for personal reasons, I wasn't here last week, so we'll just get it all done and catch up on some things. Hey, look, this show is brought to you by me, basically. I don't make anything money out of this. What I do is I help veterans put strategies together and service members, families as well, so that after you transition from the service, you don't go through some of the bumps and hard knocks that a lot of us tend to go through financially. I can help you and educate you on SGLI versus veterans group life insurance and all the other things, as well as how to properly structure your TSP so that it's still giving you gains from the market. So that later on, you can retire without, having to struggle financially. And as well, and the other thing that I do is I help veterans with their VA claims and benefits. It's just something that I've been doing. I kind of took on as a mission on my own, so that as you grow and you're getting your VA claims and benefits, then you'll go ahead and keep increasing your finances and everything else, because you just want to be prepared and have a good retirement so where you're not shaking hands, kissing babies at Walmart, not because you have to, but because you want to, if that makes sense. Hey, huge shout out to Feared Falcon, out there who's listening to us on YouTube land. So, but hey, look, listen, now's the time to apply for your VA claims and benefits. There's a lot of good things. We're going to talk about today's show theme, and I don't want to go ahead and give the cat out of the bag too much, but it's just benefits that are out there for us veterans that you can rate, because 100% is not the end all be all. However, let me just finish kind of doing the do. Listen, if you like this show, you like what we're all about, go ahead and like, subscribe, and follow. Follow me. I'm on pretty much on every social platform, minus Snapchat. But you can find me on TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. And I even write every week. I publish everything, whatever I put out at the end of the week or during the week, I expand on it during Substack on Substack as a blog / newsletter. So if you want to find out more about some of the stuff, not only finances and also your VA claims and benefits, you can go ahead and follow me for more information. And if anything over here tickles your fancy, let's have a chat. And if I can help you, at the very least, what I can do is I will point you in the right direction. The last thing I just want to mention here is that the folks, again, the platform that I use is sitradio.com. They have a lot of other great shows. Brian Coburn, not only is he one of us, he's a fellow Marine, fellow veteran. He is also the guru as it comes to podcasting and many other things that if you want to get in, need coaching, get your brand out there, many different things. I'd highly recommend this gentleman. He's amazing, and he has done a lot for me and got me where I am today. So huge shout out to the folks over there. And last but not least, listen, I know this show we support the American Constitution, the United States of America. So if you like what you hear or you don't like what you hear, that's okay. Like, subscribe, and follow. If not, you can, prerogative, swipe left. However, support a local podcaster as well, because at the end of the day, it's all about freedom of speech, right to bear arms, and all the other great freedoms that we get because of this great nation of ours and this amazing document that has been around since 1775 or 76, since we're older than the nation. Anyways, that's all my banter. So let's get down and dirty, baby. Right? All right. So and I was kind of, what is that I want to write about? And I know I've posted a lot of stuff in regards to VA claims and benefits, and you've heard a lot of some of the things that I've some of the videos that I've made. So a lot of us veterans know about disability and compensation, but a lot of us also don't know that there's a lot of other things that exist out there. So getting 70-90% is not necessarily the end all be all or the end of the conversation, right? There's many different programs that you can apply for. Excuse me. However, if you don't ask, you don't eat, right? As the saying goes. Some provide even additional monthly compensations. Others reimburse expenses, and even can provide adaptation for your house, your vehicle, and even your temporary housing as well. You can rate a lot of this. By the way, there's also and I wasn't going to talk. There's just so many to talk about that I was just kind of chose the top. So I'm not talking about gaming the system. I'm talking about knowing what you rate or what you earn and making sure that you aren't leaving any of these benefits on the table. So, all right, let's talk about the first one. SMC, special monthly compensation. I just recently learned about this one. I was not aware. I just thought that 100% that was it. So, if you're depending on certain severe disabilities that you may have, in a combination of your disabilities, you can get, for example, if you have the loss of creative organ, like your genitals, doesn't matter male or female. You've lost fingertips while in the service. I lost a fingertip. So, or you may be housebound. That's another big one. As a matter of fact, I'm helping a veteran at the moment who is pretty much housebound. And there's some all of these are there's some requirements that you have to meet, and that basically you have to apply for and provide. You're gonna have to fill out paperwork. That's the bottom line. If you don't, and if you are not on the VA website on va.gov, you don't want to learn it, you're doing yourself a huge injustice. Doesn't matter what age you are. Okay, so for example, let's talk about housebound. So you have to be substantially confined because of service-connected disabilities. So there's different levels like SMC-S, that's housebound. There's SMC-L and above, aid in attendance. This is where many severely disabled veterans and families need to pay attention, because if you're helping your family members, if you're helping your veteran get dressed, bathe, eating, basic daily needs, those type of things, you might be able to apply for these benefits. So if you don't ask, you don't eat, right? How many veterans hit the 100% and assume that that's the maximum that they can get? And what can this do for you? Well, now you can hire somebody for monthly hours, and in addition to the Caregiver program, because that program there's just two different programs. And I don't want to talk about it too much, but I think it's one of the segment topics. Nonetheless, you can apply for these benefits. Again, you're going to have to, especially for the Caregiver program, which is separate. You have to go fill out paperwork. They're going to come to your house, ask you questions, so on and so forth. So, all right. And in attendance, again, two different conversations. This is where, let me explain just a little bit about it. So it's a need for basically, I lost my notes. It's a need for regular aid and attendance because of your service-connected disabilities, right? And what this does is basically qualifying wartime veterans can get this assistance, right? So you have to be, for this one, SMC-L, Special Monthly Compensation L. There's potential higher levels, right? So, and the pension aid and attendance housebound. It's an enhanced VA pension for qualifying wartime veterans and survivors who meet pension eligibility requirements and need assistance. So these aren't simply interchangeable programs, right? The Veteran Service Connection disabilities, as well as your income net worth. There's rules behind that as far as like how much income you're making or you can earn. Care needs and other circumstances matter. All right, so that's something that you have to take into consideration. So if you're working or you still work, they're going to take that into consideration. So you will get denied, and it also depends on state by state, especially the pension aid and attendance housebound. Like in Florida, it's every year you have to reapply for it. They're going to come back, do the whole gamut all over again. So it's not something that if you're going to depend on it permanently, then you might go wrong on that one, right? All right, let's talk about housing grants. This one, the dollar amount gets people's attention, right? So there's specially adapted housing, SAH. These are for qualifying veterans with certain serious disabilities. And the VA can provide money to buy, build, or modify a house, right? So the veteran can live more, basically you can live more independently. So the amount for FY26, again, you can go ahead and go to the Veteran Affairs website, and it's up to $126,000. Now that money, I want to be clear, that money doesn't come directly to you, okay? It's a grant. So as you use that money, you submit your bills and everything else to the VA. So basically loss of use of limbs, severe mobility impairments, blindness, severe burns. These are just some of the things that you have to apply for, right? So as for example, if I have really bad knee issues, I've had to have a complete knee replacement. I foresee in the very near future, I'll have to go get my bionic knee, and for example, again, I have a lot of shoulder issues now from the service and carrying rucksacks and motor T parts and all that shit. So I've already had one surgery, and there's a lot of nights where I can't sleep. So I foresee myself having a shoulder replacement in the near future as well. I'm not trying to put it out there, but it's just the reality. So I'm going to have mobility issues, things like that you can actually build. So by partaking and applying for these programs, you can benefit from putting a shower where you don't have to climb through a bathtub. You can get a sit-in shower or a sitting tub, which I know a veteran that did that. And I mean, it's not being an older person. That thing was fucking phenomenal. As a matter of fact, it's pretty cool. They even used it to put a therapeutic small swimming pool in the back so they can do exercises as well because of his many things. And there's also temporary residence adaptation, TRA. So what if the veteran is temporarily living in a family member's house, right? Well, a qualifying veteran may potentially receive this temporary resident adaptation grant to adapt that residence. So these are things that you have to apply for these programs. But in TRA, they can receive up to $50,000 for the temporary residence adaptation. So these are, again, you go to va.gov, check it out. A lot of these things you can apply, in these programs as through va.gov. So you can do it all online. So this isn't a loan, it's an actual grant. So you can use VA form 26-4555, which can also be completed online, like I just mentioned, right? Other things that we may be overlooking. Dependents. Once a veteran reaches a qualifying disability rating, adding eligible spouse, children, dependents can increase your monthly compensation. So if you went through a divorce, like I did, and you once that prior spouse is removed, if you in the system, make sure that you do it on VA and the VA as well as on DFAS and all those things. You're going to need your divorce certificate and get that done. However, if later on you remarry, make sure you put that person there, because it's going to impact the amount of monies that you receive, for that compensation, because again, that's your spouse as well. And you could get automotive adaptation. So certain service connected disability may qualify a veteran for financial assistance toward an automobile or adaptive equipment, right? So think of it like this: you lost a limb, or the use of limb, certain vision impairments, other qualifying severe disabilities. Again, you gotta go out there. What's up, Tanner? What's up, dog? You can this can potentially cover your vehicle related adaptations, and that may cost you thousands of dollars. There's also a clothing allowance. I didn't know about this one. Actually, I didn't know about a lot of these. Some veterans using qualifying prosthetics or creams as well, and orthopedic devices may qualify for an annual VA clothing allowance, because by you putting these creams, medicines, whatever in your body, it saturates onto your clothing. If you have to wear braces, whatever else, you're gonna tear your clothing apart. It's just gonna more wear and tear in your clothing. So you can actually get these monies. As a matter of fact, in one of the chat groups that I'm on, one of the veterans was like, "Hey, I just got my clothing allowance." So just like same thing that like when you were in the service, I think you got it every 2 years, something like that. Same thing here. Now that you're a civilian, you can actually get some clothing allowance, right? Travel reimbursement. This one I found out way later, and even here in Florida, because when I have to go to the VA in Miami, that's a bit of a drive. So you could get you get mileage, right? So veterans who qualify for beneficiary travel may receive mileage reimbursement for eligible medical appointments. Individually, it may not seem huge. However, if you have to drive repeatedly, like a lot of us, to VA hospital specialty appointments, CMP-related care, rehab, you shouldn't have to automatically absorb those costs. As a matter of fact, if you're using the VA app, on the VA app, it'll actually tell you, hey, go, but you have to go in the app. And on your appointments, it'll tell you, hey, this appointment right here, you rate mileage reimbursement. So why? Because I just did that myself, right? So just be on the lookout for that. Now this is one where I got a lot of hits on social media and some questions on it, and I'll talk about it. I want to talk about it again because I think it's important. So you retire from the service, right? So what is the difference? Let's talk about combat-related special compensation, CRSC, versus CRDP, combat-related disability payment, or concurrent retirement disability payment. Yes, that's what it is. So CRDP, some military retirees with qualifying VA disabilities ratings can receive both military retire pay and VA disability compensation, rather than having the full VA waiver reduced retirement. So that's through CRDP. So in other words, you're getting paid by, DFAS, you retired, you're getting taxes taken out, then the VA compensates you those taxes that are being taken out, right? Because of the injuries and things that you have residual from the service. Combat-related special compensation, CRSC, can restore retired pay lost because of the waiver when qualifying disabilities are determined to be combat-related. Now, you have to apply for this program. It goes once a year. Usually you get a letter from DFAS. Hey, do you want to convert it? Around January timeframe, you have 30 days to apply. If you have questions on that, I have all the paperwork. I did it myself. It isn't easy. You just have to give them the documentation, especially for your medical records, right? So this is really important for certain Chapter 61 medically retired vets. It's an important distinction. So CRSC and CRDP they're not the same thing. Eligibility and calculations are going to matter. So again, DFAS will determine what is best for the veteran. So this one, it can be left on the table simply because the veteran you never applied. Again, if your VA compensation is more than your retirement, most likely you can convert your CRSC, your retirement pay. Basically, what you're doing is your retirement pay is being turned into disability because financially, most of the time, because of the things that we can't hold a steady job. That's why a lot of us become self-employed. And here's another one that if you didn't know, TDIU, right? There's three additional areas, and I'm gonna talk about all three, right? So this is temporary 100% or total disability something. Well, I forget what the IU is, but that one is self-designation and care and the caregiver, right? So let's talk about temporary 100%. You just had a surgery, right? And for example, when I had my knee replacement, let's say I was at 70%, and I submit the paperwork, go online, submit the paperwork. After they verify everything and read through the medical paperwork, because your doctors will say, hey, you're going to be bedridden, you can't go back to work for a month, whatever. This can actually give you certain service-connected hospitalizations, surgeries, periods of convalescence can potentially qualify for 100% temporary 100% compensation. So again, if you're sitting at 50, 70% and have surgery for a service-connected disability, you can actually qualify, and you'll get paid for up to 90 days, I believe is the time frame, for while you're at home and convalescent, right? So let's talk about TDIU. A veteran doesn't necessarily have to necessarily be 100%. Let me get back to that. Necessarily have to have mathematically reach 100% to be paid at 100% rate. If a service-connected disability is going to prevent you from substantially gainful employment, hold a job, and requirements are satisfied, individual unemployability, total disability, individual unemployability may be available. Again, once you come out of that, you can actually, then you go back to being 70%, whatever the case may be. So again, it used to be a permanent designation. It changed, I believe, as of I think like 2018. Just want to say that nonetheless, I know a lot of us, when we're having issues, and a lot of employers are not veteran friendly, although they say they are. The moment you start going to your medical appointments and trying to do all these other different things, they're going to start saying, hey, you're taking way too much time off. Either take personal time, eat into your sick leave, or FMLA is the other thing, that Family Leave Medical Act, which is something that you rate. But you want to let them know so that way they don't discriminate. But I will say most of the time, most jobs, they'll find a reason to get rid of you. I know, because it almost happened to me. So it was just a really toxic environment and everything else. But I mean, and we do have a lot of legitimate reasons. Other things that program comprehensive assistance for family caregivers. This is the one, remember I talked about the caregiver one at the beginning for SMC. Well, this one is for qualifying veterans who need substantial personal care because of their service-connected disabilities, serious, right? Eligible family becomes a caregiver, and maybe they'll be the ones being taking care of you. This money is going into the household while recognizing that somebody may technically have become the veteran's caregiver. As a matter of fact, I'm working on that same veteran I'm helping right now. I am trying to help him get paid on this one. Now, listen, what I want to say here is the VA, although there's a lot of programs out there, the VA is going to send you to these facilities where they're going to verify and maybe question and everything else. They're not your friends. They're there to basically verify, and even a lot of times they're not even there to help you. So answer the questions. Don't over volunteer or over talk, because sometimes we get nervous and we kind of talk ourselves out of things. unconsciously. And again, if you have legitimate reasons to be talking about or getting compensated for, and then now you find yourself like, oh no, you didn't rate that, if that makes any sense. So answer the question and shut the fuck up is what I'm saying. Okay. And again, you're being truthful, because if you're having issues, you're having issues, right? So pull out your VA decision letter, look at what you're actually service connected for, look at your current limitations, look at who's helping take care of you, usually your spouse. So when I'm helping a veteran, I say, hey, I need your spouse to be there, because they know you better than you do. Because you're going to tell me, no, my pain level is 4 or 5. And your spouse is going to say, nope, that is incorrect. It's actually 7, 8, some days 10. And some days he does this, she does that, blah, blah, blah. So to have that talk with your spouse, or that one family member that's living with you and taking care of you. And if you have any questions, reach out to the show. So look at, again, then start asking questions, because these aren't handouts. These are actually benefits you earn. There's so many veterans I talk to quite a bit. And no, I don't rate this because I didn't go to combat. I don't rate this because I was a pogue. I don't rate this because I wasn't a combat vet or whatever. Listen, you give your body, mind, soul, and spirit to this great nation of ours. You rate these benefits. You were if you drank the in Camp Lejeune, you rate this shit. And by the way, I did. If you lived in squad bays that were 50, 60 years old, guess what? You got exposure to you were in toxic environment because you breathe asbestos and all kinds of other shit. You worked in, you clean weapons, CLP. That shit right there is super nasty. And a lot of us did it without gloves. You worked in Motor T. You packed bearings. You did all kinds of stuff. We were exposed a lot. So don't make that determination for the VA without you giving yourself at least the chance of what you can rate for. So stop being dumb. Stop being hard-headed. You're not being humble. You're not being humble. You're being an idiot because you're cutting your nose out of these benefits. So apply for them and let somebody guide you through the process. If you want to reach out, I'll be more than glad. If I can't help you, I have plenty of resources and I can point you in the right direction. So I think this is a good place to index. If you're having issues, you're kind of going, in a dark place, you haven't talked to somebody, feel free to reach out. Let me be your ear for a while. Let me hear you bitch and complain, and I can put my Chief Warrant Officer bars back on, and I can yell at you for a little bit, right? I'm kidding, but just reach out to somebody. Don't do something stupid that's going to leave a lot of us with questions and your family suffering because you took your life and basically made a decision that you can't take back. All right. So I think this is a good place to index. So with that being said, everybody, I just want to say index, Ice Tomas, Daisuke. See you next week. Ara, get some, baby. How do I log